Good afternoon to you. Now we will continue with the Constitution. See, in the last class, we have seen the difference between constitutional law, ordinary law, and the rules made in pursuance of the law. These three distinctions we have seen. We have also seen that the provisions of the rules can be amended by the government, that is, minister in charge. The act can be amended through the parliament, and the constitution can be amended by the parliament by adopting the special procedure given in article 368. We studied also that all constitutional laws can be ordinary laws, but all ordinary laws are not constitutional laws, because the law has to be passed by parliament by special procedure under article 368. Then only the law will become a constitutional law. If the special procedure is not adopted, then the law is an ordinary law. You should see the difference. And parliament, when it sits to amend the constitution, it is not the parliament, but it is a constituent assembly. So constituent assembly, in the capacity of constituent assembly, parliament amends the constitution. That is the difference you should understand from the point of law and the point of constitutional law. Now, while dealing with article 368, we find that theoretically there are only two methods for amending the constitution, whereas practically there are three methods to amend the constitution. That is, there are certain provisions in the constitution which can be amended by parliament, but this third category of amendments are not deemed to be the constitutional amendments. In other words, these amendments are not coming within the purview of article 368. So, these amendments are technically not constitutional amendments. We should know what are such amendments which are not treated as amendments for the purpose of article 368. Very important. See, first is admission or establishment of a new state, or formation of a new state, or alteration of the areas, or alteration of boundaries, or change of name of the existing states, etc. These provisions come under article 4 of the constitution. After the amendment, the changes are made in the first schedule as well as, if necessary, in the fourth schedule. This is number 1. Article 311 empowers the parliament to make law related to certain aspects of citizenship. Such laws are not to be treated as constitutional amendments, even though it changes the constitution. Thirdly, parliament can amend second schedule to revise the salaries of certain constitutional dignitaries. This is the third one. Fourth one is, under article 169 of the constitution, legislative assemblies can be created or abolished in the states. Fifthly, the fifth schedule and sixth schedule relating to the administration and control of scheduled areas and scheduled tribes, administration of tribal areas in the states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram, amendment of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe orders. This also remember This does not amount to an amendment of the Constitution. Sixthly, under Article 239A relating to creation of an assembly or council of ministers in a union territory. Seventhly, under Article 124, Clause 1 of the Constitution, Supreme Court will have one Chief Justice of India and 30 judges till Parliament increases the strength of the Supreme Court. Originally, as you know, the provision was one Chief Justice of India and 7 judges. Eighthly, Article 133, Clause 3 prohibits challenge of the judgments of a single judge of High Court in the Supreme Court, but the Parliament may amend the provision. This is 8th. Ninthly, Article 105, Clause 3, as we have already discussed, contains parliamentary privileges until the Parliament defines them. Then 10thly, Article 343, Clause 3 says that the Parliament may provide for use of English language even after 15 years after the commencement of the Constitution. 11th point is Article 348, Clause 1 establishes English as the language of the Supreme Court, High Courts and legislation till the Parliament provides otherwise. So, these are all the 11 points which amend the Constitution, but such amendments are not treated as amendments for the purpose of Article 368. Very important 11 points. Remember, 11 points, 11 amendments, 11 provisions, various provisions amounting to 11 provisions can be changed, but these amendments are not to be treated as amendments for the purpose of Article 368. Okay, now for resorting to these amendments, that is amendments of these provisions, normal legislative procedure applies. What is the normal legislative procedure? In other words, a bill, that is a legislative proposal, can be introduced in either House of Parliament, and both the houses should pass the bill by simple majority, and after such passage, the bill will be presented to the President for his assent. On the bill being presented to the President and having been assented by President, the bill becomes an act, and the Constitution, to the extent of amendment, stands amended. Remember, even though these provisions amend the Constitution, these are not to be treated as amendments for the purpose of Article 368. Why? Because, number one, the procedure adopted for these changes is not found in Article 368. Number two, constitutional text remains the same. And number three, the amendment process required only a simple majority, contrary to what is given in Article 368. Now, nevertheless, the Constitution lays down certain conditions before the Parliament legislates in respect of some of these amendments. What are those amendments? For some amendments, some additional procedure has been laid down. What are those? For example, a bill for formation of a state or changing the boundary of the state or changing the area of the state or changing the name of the state can be introduced in either House of Parliament, remember, except on the recommendation of President. Most important point you should take note of, that is, no bill for formation of a state or changing the boundary of the state or changing the area of the state or changing the name of the state can be introduced in either House of Parliament except on the recommendation of President. The President, before according such recommendation, is required to refer the legislative proposal, that is the bill, to the legislature of the state concerned. What for? For expressing its views thereon within the stipulated period. It is vital to note that even if the legislature of the concerned state expresses the opposing views, even then, President is not bound by such views and he can recommend the introduction of the bill in either House of Parliament. And it is also interesting to note that the recommendation of the President is on the advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. So the Council advises the President that this bill, we want to create this state, please recommend the bill. He has to recommend, irrespective of the fact of his personal opinion or irrespective of the fact of the concerned state opposing the proposal. In either way, he is bound by the advice of the Council of Ministers. Secondly, similarly, the Parliament's power to make a law for abolition or creation of legislative council in the states is exercisable only if the legislative assembly of the concerned state passes a resolution to this effect by a majority of total membership of that house and a majority of not less than 2/3 of the members of the assembly present and voting. Special majority. In other words, special majority. What is special majority? Absolute majority plus 2/3 of the majority of the members present and voting. Contrary to this requirement, while the assembly has to pass the resolution by special majority, contrary to this requirement, the bill for creation or abolition of the legislative council can be passed in Parliament by simple majority. See, in the state assembly it has to be passed by special majority, whereas in Parliament the proposal of creation or abolition of the council can be passed by simple majority. Now, next, another important point. Of all the provisions which we have discussed above, one provision is noteworthy. What is that provision? Article 4, relating to admission or establishment of the new state or formation of the new state, etc. This legislative proposal can be passed by both the houses of Parliament by simple majority. Only condition is such a legislative proposal can be introduced in either House of Parliament only on the recommendation of President. The President, before recommending such a bill for introduction, has a duty in the sense that he has to refer the legislative proposal to the legislature of the concerned state. What for? For its use. Even if the state legislature offers opposing views, the President is not bound by such views and he can recommend introduction of the bill and the bill can be finally passed. The recommendation of the President, as I already told you, is on the basis of satisfaction of Council of Ministers. This article applies on this article, remember, implies that any state can be reorganized, created, abolished, amalgamated, boundaries changed, name can be changed at the will of the union government. That is why it is said that Indian Union consists of indestructible union with destructible states. That is, indestructible union with destructible states. If the union is strong, if there is a 3/4 or 2/3 majority in both the houses of parliament, that party can completely change the dimension of the state, because the states have no individuality with due regards. We do not claim that we are more intelligent, but the historical situation compelled the Constitutional Assembly to make a very easy method for reorganization of states. With this, we will end the class today. In the next class, we will see the two methods of amending process which is included in Article 368. Thank you.